Do I look good today? Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm just another kind of girl, and you wanna see my world. So come and run away. Yeah, yeah. If you wanna play, come and play today. Let's just get away. Yeah, I will make you see all of the things that you can be. Believe in yourself, come follow me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hello, you're listening to Storytelling Saga, the podcast that shares stories. I'm your host, Allie, and this week I'm so excited to welcome Stacey back to the podcast. Welcome back, Stacey.
Hey, thanks for having me, Allie. It's great to be back.
Always so much fun having you on. I've realized the last time you were on, it was 2 years ago, and I've had you on every other year, just coincidentally.
It's just the pattern.
It's good. So this time around, I wanted to chat with you about Zoey 102. So first off, I wanted to just know, what was your initial reaction when you found out about this movie?
I was really excited. I was surprised that it was actually happening because they had that reunion kind of that went viral on TikTok and Instagram and stuff, but I didn't know if that was actually going to turn into something with the studios. So I remember I got the press email or that before it had like the embargoed press email, and then I just freaked out when I saw it was legit. And they were filming very soon after that dropped, and I was really excited I truly didn't really think it would happen. So I'm glad I was wrong about that.
I know. I was just kind of surprised. And I first thought, I was like, oh, wait, is it a series or it's a movie? I was like, oh, it's a movie. All right, cool. That seems really fun. Because I actually first saw it from, I think it was Abby Wilde, who plays, of course, Stacey Dilson. I saw her tweet. I was like, oh, are you ready? I was like, yeah, I'm ready. Too funny. Showing Zoey 102. What I first saw initially was that everyone was not feeling the title. Everyone was saying, why is it 102? Why isn't it 201? Is it in a course in college? Isn't that funny?
Oh,
Or already why is it one not into the title already? I thought that was funny.
at first I was like, well, I don't really know, but then it made sense with the movie because it's her house number, and so I was like, oh, I get it. And I don't know what else they would have called it because then I thought it worked.
I think if anything, 202 would have sounded good just because 101, now 202. But yeah, her house number was 102.
Yeah.
So that was that little Easter egg. And she was still wearing her little, a new little key, which I thought was cute too.
Yeah. But I felt like the house number thing was it was one quick shot and then it kind of wasn't really shown again. Because I saw the movie with my boyfriend and he totally just missed that whole thing. And I said, oh, that's why it's called that. And he's like, oh, so I don't know if everybody necessarily caught that because it was towards the beginning, I guess, when she goes home after her stressful work day or something. Yeah, I thought it was cute, and they made enough cute little key references and to the original. I thought was great for fans.
That's the whole thing with these, honestly, these projects that are relying on nostalgia, that it's kind of people say, well, it doesn't really need to be made necessarily, but it's for the fans. And I thought it was wonderful personally. I saw mixed reviews of it, but I thought it was fantastic. I really liked the writing. It was a whole new creative team, new writers, director, all female led, which I thought was really cool too, actually.
Right. And I thought the script was fantastic and it had enough new things, but enough great references to the show for diehard fans to fun little Easter eggs to pick up on. I liked it because it wasn't kind of silly over the top. It was, I love the iCarly reboot, but it is kind of some of it is kind of cheesy because it's got the laugh track and all that stuff. And so sometimes it can be a little cringe with some of the jokes, but I felt like Zoey 102 was there was none of that. The humor was I genuinely laughed out loud. I just thought it was really well done. And I mean, the show was fantastic too, but I'm now, in my 30s instead of 12 years old and stuff. And I still loved this movie. I just was I really was blown away by how great the script was. And obviously everyone was great in the movie too. But
I agree. It's like was for adults who grew up with the show, and basically because like we're at that point in our lives now of like for me personally too, like a lot of my friends are not only getting married but having kids now at that stage in our early 30s. I'm like, well, I'm nowhere near that right now for me personally, but it's too funny, you know.
same. And then Zoe's just over here just trying to make it work. And I was like, that's a lot more accurate, I feel like.
Exactly. Honestly, like so she's kind of the audience surrogate of not having her life together right now. It's too funny.
Exactly.
Because I really did love, like from the very beginning with that opening sequence, I usually don't consciously notice this stuff, but I thought the cinematography of it was just really beautiful. Like it felt more cinematic compared to the show. Like it was very much just like, this is a movie, which I really loved. And just that whole opening sequence of this guy proposing to her on their second date, like, damn, dude. Like, and then
it's just like it's rough out there.
yeah, it's like all right, you know, but then just her crashing into the wait staff, it just was so funny to me. Just like this is her messy life. Clearly, I thought that was fantastic. That whole opening scene.
It really just showed nothing's changed. And in fact, she kind of seemed more like Chase on Zoey 101. Like, was a little clumsier and stuff, which I kind of liked because I felt like they sort of did a mini role reversal because like Chase was getting married and like, so it seemed like he had a job he liked and was, so I don't know if that was intentional, but it felt like a little bit of a role reversal because now it's like Zoey is sort of, not having it all together, or at least not seeming like she has it all together.
That's a good point because I absolutely love the whole sequence because it was great just basically instead of the exposition of it, of just seeing her scrolling through Instagram and then seeing where everyone's at their lives now. So you find out Michael, for instance, now he's a music producer with Drippin'. I thought that was
yes, I was waiting for that reference to come up. Yes.
I loved that. He made Drippin' happen. I really loved that. I love that
exactly.
feature. That's really cute. Of course,
yes.
Queen is this amazing inventor now, and basically Logan is her, I think, soon to be trophy husband then in this movie. It's fantastic.
Which is like nice to see the reversal of that instead of like the trophy wife. So that was pretty great.
It works for their characters. Mm-hmm.
And all of them still like really looked the same, like in the face. Sometimes some people like their face really changes as they grow older, but I feel like all of them, I was like, I would have still recognized all of them. They didn't like really change that. I mean, they got taller, and stuff, but like as far as their like actual face, I don't really think any of them changed. So which is kind of nice.
I know, and because they did show a few images like from the original series of seeing them as teenagers, and then you're right, they just kind of more or less look the same. I always think that's amazing when actors can fall back into their roles so easily after a substantial amount of time. I find that really impressive. I think they all, like, to me, like all the chemistry was still there with the original cast, and it's like we as the audience and they as actors have known each other for years and years, so they have that like comfort level, so I like that.
Right. Yeah, and it clearly showed like these are people who like being around each other. I don't think you could fake it with a movie like that. It just seemed kind of real and genuine, which was nice to see.
I know. I personally especially loved just seeing Zoey and Quinn as adults and like as best friends now. I was a little bit missing Lola, but I know for scheduling reasons that Victoria Justice wasn't available for the movie.
That's why?
Apparently,
okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure I'm probably in universe. I know Lola always wanted to be an actress. Maybe she was an actress now. I guess they didn't, who knows, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they made like kind of nice references to some of the cast who like weren't in the movie being like Dustin. They were like, oh, he's married with 2 kids, and that was kind of like all they said about that, but it was nice they mentioned.
Exactly. I know. I did also honestly love the glow up of Stacey Dilson now having this murder mystery podcast. I love that for her, this murder mystery podcast. So good.
That was so perfect for her.
Yes.
In every sense of the word, and I was very pleased, and she was obviously very good at it too, like because she was like, what was it, like the #1 podcast host. I love that Mark Del Figolo was like kind of like her audio guy or whatever, as well as her husband. There was like jokes of him being like, "No, I'm your husband," like, and I it was like his deadpan like it was just always at the right time, just like I felt like it was on the show.
I know that was a couple I never knew I wanted, but I was here for it. I was like, okay, yeah, Stacey and Mark. We don't know how they ended up together, but they're very cute together.
The oh my goodness, the sloppy seconds line.
Yes,
I was
yes.
like, wow, okay, that's
I
pretty great. Yeah.
I died laughing. There were certain parts where I honestly burst out laughing. That killed me. He was like, "Yeah, good on you getting the rebound," and Logan's like, "Yeah, actually." He's like, "Yeah, sloppy seconds." That killed me. Oh my God.
Because it's true, but it's like you didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, because in the original series. Yeah, so to ask you about that, were you a fan of Logan? Like what was your opinion on Logan and Quinn getting together in the original series? Because for me personally, I was kind of like, to me it was like kind of like a shock thing. It's like, oh, all right, just for the sake of like, let's see these two characters get together. And you would think they wouldn't work, but the fact that they're so different is what makes them work. So I ended up loving them in the final season of the original show, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. At first, I was kind of like, wait, why?
Mhm.
But it really was an opposites attract kind of thing. And there was that like one episode where Logan was revealed like he's very good at chemistry, because like his grandfather taught him or something. So I was like, okay, well that's science. Quinn is big in in science and stuff. So by the end of like the series, I did think it was a good pairing, but originally I was kind of just like, no, she belongs with Mark because they're both so weird. Um,
Exactly, I know. Well, the whole thing with her and Mark, I always thought it was funny how she would basically experiment on him. And one of my favorites is when she blew off his eyebrows. Like,
yes,
but with her and Logan, I loved also the callback because it's in the series finale when they declare their love at prom. And then in this movie, when like they both say, "I love Quinn Penske and I love Logan Reese," I thought that was a cute callback. Very cute.
it was very wholesome. How they did it.
I'm glad they stayed together all these years and that they finally got married. I was, yeah, I'm happy for them.
There was like some line where he's like asked her to marry him several times or something over the year, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
You're right, yeah, because Zoe's like, "Oh, congratulations, it only took you 50 times." So I guess
Yeah,
I'm sure,
yeah,
I'm sure in that case, it's probably she was prioritizing her, like, becoming this unstoppable inventor. Like they were showing again, like on the Instagram stuff, the Forbes 30 under 30 and all that stuff. So she's, living her best life too, which is
exactly.
amazing.
She was the most successful um,
Right.
out of
But
all of them.
yeah, that's not surprising though, because she was always like she was like a kind of like a mad scientist in a way, like as a, in high school.
Exactly.
I know they called them in the show originally, they called it like Quinventions.
Quinventions, yeah. And I remember the banapple tree, but it was like apparently really acidic and would kill you if you ate it or something. Like she made the apple and banana like fuse as one.
Yeah.
I remember that Quinvention the most for some reason.
I remember also she would actually experiment a lot with Zoe's brother Dustin because
Yeah,
there's one where like she had him stay up, which now like you look back on this, it's like this is a child, you're doing some questionable things, but for the sake of comedy, but he starts hallucinating. And then another one where I'm trying to remember now. Oh wait, that's a separate thing. I'm just thinking of now, like when he gets his hands caught in the vending machine. That's something different though.
oh, she did make
No.
she made that like the cactus goo or something that then you
Oh,
inject in candy to make it healthy, but she forgot to mention that it's super addictive and like destroyed a civilization and that's why it's like outlawed.
that's
Um
right. I do remember also there's an episode where Miranda Cosgrove guest starred and she was like she was a younger super genius. So then Quinn was feeling
yeah,
insecure. I do remember that too, like just one episode, but yeah.
I forgot about that. I think her character's name was Paige. I could have just made that up, but for
Sounds
some reason
familiar.
that's what's coming back to me.
I think you're
I do
right.
remember they used to have a different Stacey, not the same like character. It was I don't they she was only in one episode, she didn't have a last name. But it was towards the beginning and she like stole Zoe's backpack idea. And it was played by the
Oh,
actress who's Mindy from Drake and Josh.
oh
Um
yes. Okay,
and
yeah.
it was early in the series. It was before they even had Stacey Dilson like cast, I believe. So I think it's just a coincidence that like they have the same name. But I remember I loved the backpack episode because I recently rewatched it, so it was like fresh in my mind.
I know. I do remember that now, but yeah, she stole her idea and then like she was selling it or something, and then like Zoey had to make it more. She made hers like more trendy, so that because that was the whole premise of the show was well, basically a premise obviously was that girls now allowed into what was previously an all boys school. So then it was
Mhm.
basically like a whole like battle of the sexes type things in early episodes, but then it always became basically like I don't know, like not going against authority, but basically like not letting rules stop you and like learning that you could do things on your own if you all come together, and how Zoey would like organize all these things for the school. So that was like,
There was an episode about like censorship, which is kind of how I first learned about that.
oh
Like,
yeah,
was it Chase and Michael? Maybe I
yes,
think they had a
you're right.
show, and the
Like
dean's like, no. Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, because I forgot they had a web show and that was like a precursor to iCarly then. Like they
that's
had their
true.
own web show.
Yeah,
You know what? No, now I remember. Yeah, it was then they had a segment where again it was like he said, she said, and then it was Zoey and Logan arguing about stuff, like with the guy perspective and the girl perspective. I remember
oh, I forgot
that.
about that. Yeah.
That might have been like similar, but then I think there was one where Chase and Matt and wait, Matt, what am I saying? Michael, I'm thinking like Matthew Underwood, the actor. Chase and Michael were getting sued by like an SNL type show.
Yeah, because it was like an animated bowling
Yes,
pin thing or something.
yes. Oh, it's so
Yeah,
funny the memories that come back. But
right.
I know for me, one of my favorites, and I know it's a fan favorite, is the time capsule episode. That's a
Yes,
classic. Or like
beautiful.
and what was great was then like a decade later, then they revealed like what Zoey said in the time
Which
capsule.
like broke the internet.
Yes. It was sort of basically saying like, oh, I think Chase and I could be soulmates. That was so cute. That was yeah.
And then cut to the movie, and you learn like early on that like they haven't spoken to each other and who knows how long, and
Yeah. Yeah,
so
yeah. So that's what one thing I will say. Like I loved the movie, but there were certain things I was like, I don't know if I'm buying that. That didn't take away from my enjoyment, but for me personally, I was like, so wait, the backstory is that she left Chase in Hawaii now and they haven't spoken in over a decade. Like
yeah,
a bit harsh.
I was like, was that canon? Like, did I miss that whole Hawaii chapter, or was that written for
Well,
the movie? Am I a fake fan and don't remember it?
because in the series finale they get together finally in the series finale and then they go to prom and then she's invites him to Hawaii with her, so it ends on that note.
Oh,
So
okay,
that's what it
okay.
was, yeah. And then Quinn and Logan like declare their love publicly, and then it was like Michael. Oh, and then the whole thing too was Stacey then is cured of her like speech impediment when like Mark hits her with the car because Michael was teaching him to drive.
Oh,
That's what
that's
happened. And
right.
then
Yeah.
her speech impediment was gone. And then she's like, oh,
Yeah.
my S's are perfect. So that was great too.
Yeah, because in the movie I was like, no, wait a minute. I forgot about that part though. That makes total sense. So
Because the whole thing with her character though is that she's basically like this walking storm of misfortune. Like
yes.
like I remember there's a moment where I'm trying to think where like Chase is like dating some girl. He dated some girl who played by Daniela Monet. Like there's all these crossover shows. So like that
Yes.
girl, and then like she was like, you can't talk to Zoey anymore. But like when he's running to go like find her or something, and then he ends up telling Zoey that their cartoon was picked up or something. But like he crashes into Stacey and then like knocks down her cotton swab house that
Oh,
she built.
yes. And I
Like
was like, some poor prop person had to put this together
yeah, right. Like probably
only
multiple
to have it
multiple
destroyed.
times. That's so
Yeah, I
funny.
would describe Stacey as like kind of more of an upbeat Charlie Brown. Because like it is sort of the woe is me, but she at least is a little more positive than like he is. But bad stuff does just happen to her.
That's a perfect description because then also she was like in love with Logan too. So that's so funny. So
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Did
so,
they go to prom together? Did I make that
yeah,
up?
that's right. Because the whole thing with Quinn and Logan was that they were embarrassed to be dating each other and they wanted to keep it a secret. So then in that prom episode, they picked each other's dates. So then Logan went with Stacey and Quinn had to take Dustin.
I forgot about that.
That's like, yeah, I don't know, some like weird things a little bit.
It's
But
like they weren't that far apart in age, but it just seemed farther in age, I guess.
exactly. Well, because at that point, yeah, like when this like they were like 16 and he was like 13 or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. But I wanted to mention, oh yeah, the other thing with the original show I wanted to mention, I think my favorite episode personally was Chase's grandma, because that one is so heartbreaking and so beautiful. You know, like when
Is it the radio?
um, no, it's basically it's Chase's birthday, and then Zoey wants to do something special. Then she finds out he shares a birthday with his grandma, and they're really close. And then she was going to fly the grandma out rather, but then she was sick and couldn't come. And then he's too busy doing a paper, and then she ends up passing away. And it's just this very heartbreaking, moving scene where she comforts him, and it's pouring rain, and that beautiful little song is playing, A Million Raindrops, her favorite song, and it's really touching and profound, like one of the more profound moments that shows how much Zoey truly cares about Chase. That's like a really sweet one, because that was the whole thing with this show too, was basically the whole thing was Chase always had a thing for Zoey, and then it always seemed like, she only ever saw him as a friend. That's why I loved in this movie when they summed up their relationship, Chase saying, everyone knew I had a thing for her, and then she says, and no one knew I had a thing for him. I thought that was very cute. That was like,
which is like that's pretty accurate with a lot of people in real life, I feel like. So like it made a lot of sense.
The whole, friends to lovers. It's so cute. And I don't know, have you kept up with the iCarly reboot? Because,
I have, yeah.
I've been loving that. I loved seeing Creddy this past season. I was like, I didn't even know I wanted to see these two get together. Now, like, I'm in love.
Oh yeah, it was like
them.
They can never break up now because they're really adorable. And my favorite, honestly, my favorite character on the reboot is the girl who plays Harper. I just think I can blank out her name, but I think she is freaking hilarious. And any scene she's in, and just like kills me. And I'm just like more Harper.
She's hilarious. Yeah, it's like Lacey something. Lacey.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
I was gonna kill me.
I was looking it up. Lacey Mosley. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But and then there was like Freddie's mom and Lubert. Didn't see that one.
Yeah.
And then his mom is like jealous of Carly because now Freddie has another woman in his life or something.
Right.
There was like one episode where that was made very apparent that she was not thrilled about Carly's involvement with her son.
Yes.
I was like, ma'am, he's 30 something.
Exactly. Oh God, I know, it's so funny. So yeah, here's hoping for another season of that. I feel like now, so we've had the iCarly reboot's doing really well. This Zoey 102 is fantastic. I feel like it's only a matter of time for a Victorious reboot, like fingers crossed.
I know. Well, and I loved Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide so much. And I haven't seen it in a little while, but for a while I was listening to a bunch of their podcast episodes where they watch each episode and discuss it and they all want to do it. It's just like the network said no, and it's just so frustrating because if you have the actors who want to do it and then the fan base it's already built in wants it, I don't understand. But maybe with the success of Zoey 102, maybe they'll reconsider.
What was honestly hilarious, first off, I love that podcast there. I just love seeing Devin, Lindsay, and Daniel interact there and their friendship.
Yes.
They're amazing. They seem like such amazing people. But what was so hysterical is that they were trolling the Zoey 102. I don't know if you saw it. You saw that? Zoey catches the bouquet, and then Chase catches it, and then they throw it to Devin, Lindsay, and Daniel. They pick it up and it's on fire, and they're like, "This is fine."
It was fantastic. Yes.
There was another one. They did another one with actually the actor who plays Michael with what's his name, Christopher Macy, and he was like, "Nope, not for you guys." That was so hysterical.
Hilarious. No, I didn't see that one. Because it's so true. I do feel like Ned's kind of just got pushed to the side. And I feel so bad for them because both shows, they're just so different, but they're both good in their own way.
Ned's is so good because though it's it's geared towards it's your middle school survival guide, but there are things in there that you can take as an adult, like tips. That's why you need the adult survival guide. And I know because I watched the interview with Scott Fellows, the creator of the show. He has a script. They pitched it and everything, like you said, and they just But it would be basically them struggling as adults coming together, Ned, Mose, and Cookie. So,
and I mean, I'm really just hoping that Zoey 102 did really well on Paramount Plus, and they'll be like, okay, maybe we should give this another thing, and do that, because I guess if the audience is there, but you have to convince executives, and I don't think executives always realize that, to be honest.
I know that's what's unfortunate, but I don't know. I think definitely they could do a movie at the very least, but I would love to see a series. But because I've got to see Ned and Mose get back together. So
Well, and like apparently, like they used to date in real life, and they talk about it on
yeah,
the podcast all the time, and it's so funny.
yeah,
It's really sweet. I'm glad that they're still, like obviously they didn't work out, so I'm glad they're still friends.
I know they have like more of like a platonic love now, which is so sweet and like it's kind of deep
Yes.
in a way then because like they've known each other so long. So I love that. Yeah. It's just really cute. But Zoey 102, I'm looking here on the wiki, and it was like #1 in a lot of countries. It did do really well. So
Good.
and I think they said, I think like the writers or let me see, the director was, so the writers were Monica, Sherer, and Madeline Whitby. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And then the director was Nancy Hower. And they mentioned that like they have ideas for more stories. So I would personally love to see more with Zoey 102 now that finally Chase and Zoey reconnected,
Yeah, but now we finally get it, and then it's like, no, just that's the end.
Exactly. And I know, so like here's hoping, but I have to say also, I love Zoe's job. I thought all of that stuff was fantastic. So we already
Yes.
into that. So like the love fully charged first off. First of all, I just love the idea of choosing between true love or a car. Give me those two options. Like, hello. That's amazing.
Exactly.
Either way, you
And-
win. Either way, I got.
Well, and like just my boyfriend's really into cars, so he likes seeing all of that, like when they took the car and driving it all over, and which I'm like a car is a car. I don't know, I'm not, but I'm not the biggest car knowledgeable person, but I thought that was really cool, and whoever was playing, like, I guess he used to be like her assistant, and then he moved up, and it was like his car. Like that guy was really funny. That character who like worked on the show.
Wait, the host character, right? Archer.
Yes, yeah, he was
hilarious.
the host. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he was so funny. Yes.
He was like, it's really gross how much you talk about high school. He was just like throwing shade, like, Zoey, get your shit
It's
together.
so true. It's like, yeah, it's like we're old enough to go to, high school reunions. Let's calm down.
Right? Oh my God. I know that's what's like scary. It's like, oh my God, how much time has passed. By the way, I just have to say too, I thought I was absolutely wild. The backstory that they gave PCA, that it was
Yes, I was gonna mention that. It's like,
I was
what?
like, wow, that's incredible. That's hilarious. Whoever came up with that. I thought that was so like it was never even a real school. And they're just like,
Well,
oh
they
my
also
God.
they also meant they're like, okay, so like a year after we graduated, like it got shut down or something, which
Yeah.
means Dustin didn't graduate from there because he was more than
Oh.
one grade. So I'm like, where did he go?
Good point. Good point. Yeah, because that's the thing, because it started like in middle school, and then I guess it went from, I guess I never remember that. I guess it was the 6th through 12th grade boarding
I think
school.
so. Yeah, it was an odd grade choice.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know much about boarding school. Maybe that's normal, but yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. Like, especially as a teenager, it was a wish fulfillment thing of like everyone wanted to go to a school like PCA to just like be on your own, like before college and
Mhm.
the dorm and stuff. Oh my God.
I'm glad they mentioned Sushi Rocks towards the
Yes.
end. And Kazu, but he wasn't. They didn't have the actor in, but yeah, he got like a little mention.
They mentioned like, oh yeah, Kazu's son now. Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah,
Little
yeah.
Easter eggs. But yeah, so what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so I wanted to mention, okay, Zoe's job. That's right. Zoe's boss was absolutely hysterical, played by Thomas Lennon. Kelly, he was just like savage, freaking savage, that dude.
I didn't realize he was in it until I guess I saw like the opening credits, and he's done like so many things in his career, but he's always just gonna be like the weird sidekick guy from 17 again to me.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my God. Yeah. And also Joey's hand twin on Friends. That too.
oh
yeah,
my
that's
god,
like-
yeah, wow, that's a real throwback.
That's like a random one that sticks with me for some reason. That's so funny.
I loved she was only in like one scene because her name appeared in the opening credits, Miss Pat, who's a comedian,
yeah.
and she has a show on BET Plus that like actually my boyfriend he got me into watching, and it's hilarious. And so I was really excited, and I wish she had. I mean, she was probably in more, and they like cut it, but like as the ring jewelry store owner, like that scene I thought was really funny. Like all this ridiculous stuff they're like giving, like the champagne, and then the two other random people come out of nowhere, and
They
Like,
were
I
like,
thought that scene was fantastic.
their energy was just like, here, like, enjoy. And they're just like, no, because they thought, of course, they were Quinn and Logan. So that's so funny.
Yeah.
I love that whole scene. Yeah, that was the scene where they say, like, summing up their little love story, which is so cute. And they're like, kiss, 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 which,
And it's like, what jewelry store would do that?
yeah, right. It's kind of like, yeah, calm down, people. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Oh, you know what was funny? That just reminded me before that scene when they pull up. And by the way, that's what's so funny too with this car. They were trapped in the car together then, Zoey and Chase. This car played a big role in this movie. Like,
I forgot about that. Yeah, it was kind of like a friendlier version of like Stephen King's Christine, and like the car was just in control, and like the humans were just along for the ride.
They're just trapped in there, so they have no choice but they were obviously like very cold to each other, and they're being like, they were kind of like reverted to teenagers. Because then also when Chase was like jealous of Zoe's new quote unquote boyfriends, the douche, he was fantastic too. What a wild character! All the lengths he would go through just to be on that Love Fully Charged show.
And he was easy on the eyes, so like that didn't hurt either.
Absolutely.
But
yeah,
I'm
very handsome.
Oh my goodness gracious, I was so excited at the end of the movie that they included that bit. With, or do we want to say it? I don't. It is a spoiler. Do you?
I know at this point, yeah, we've been
okay. Yeah. So when like they basically were confirming, yeah, he has been the serial killer, because I thought that early on, and then before like Stacey Dilson was like, now wait a minute, and like it would like cut to her and like kind of zoom in on her face with dramatic music as she's like putting two and two together. But then I was like, no, that's too much. And then they did it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is Paramount Plus. They can do that. So.
It was such a good bait and switch. It was one of those things where it's like, no, I'm from like, he's an actor, and then saying like all the clues, like his hands, and then wearing the gloves, and then that was so like, that was, what a wild ending, so ominous, just the body bag, and then just
then it was just wild. The credits. I was like, the end on him.
Yeah, that was something else. That's what I mean. So like, there's more to explore with these characters, because wow, that's insane. Because now you have a murderer on a reality show now, but like,
exactly.
That's again, like, snaps to whoever came up with that. Amazing. Oh my god. But oh my gosh. But I wanted to bring up, what was I going to bring up? Oh yeah, so Chase and Zoey. Yeah, so poor Chase, like, it's funny how he just regresses again immediately to being like, oh, so like, feeling insecure with Zoe's so he thinks her new boyfriend, and then like when they do that sing off, which was amazing though.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Recreating the Dirty Dancing, that was so good. That was so
good. Well, I also love that Chase, did the same thing Zoey did. Like basically hired, it was his ex, to be at the wedding. And
true.
Because I didn't see that coming at all, actually, that part. So I was bamboozled.
When he revealed afterwards that they had actually broken up and she just agreed so he wouldn't go alone. Yeah, that was
yeah.
But also, of course, like, the classic when they see each other and he rams into the pole. You gotta love these callbacks.
Yeah, I loved it, yes.
And
there was just so many good small references.
It's so cute, because then at the end, like when he like at the wedding, and then he finally stops, he's like, okay, now I don't need to like be in my own way. It's kind of like that semblance of like being in his own way, kind of like like with Ross with Rachel, like at the very beginning with the umbrella, like a symbolism of that, like he's the one standing in his own way from being with the woman he wants to be with. I'm probably reaching too much, but I like making
I think that's good. It just shows like he's finally like coming to his own, I guess, at this point. Yeah. It took him a very long time to get there, but
well, I have to say, like, so the scenes in the car, I loved like when she's like, well, probably we shouldn't, like, let's like don't speak, and they start playing that song Don't Speak. I love that song, first of all, but also listening to the lyrics, it like played so well into their situation. Like, you and me, we used to be together every day. It's so good. I was like, wow, hitting the nail on the head with that.
Exactly. Like every line was just like perfect. Like nothing was like really throwaway. I don't feel like
I know, it was so well crafted. And then also all the stuff with Logan and Quinn I thought was so great, with Quinn basically just not wanting a whole big spectacle, and Logan not hearing her, Logan just thinking like, oh, we gotta celebrate our love, and just because he's rich obviously, so he's just, I loved also the callback to Chauncey. That was like his butler guy from, if you remember that episode when they do the
the spring breakup with the tech mate. Yes.
By the way, on a side note, that one, like with the that one was such a wild cliffhanger at the time. I remember when he texts her, the message was "I love you," and then ends up in the fountain. That was like such an amazing thing at the time.
So good.
I'm like,
I
oh my
wanted
God.
that. I wanted that phone so bad.
Yes, like that sidekick. But the fact that he told her and then she just never got the message. That was so good. Oh my God. But so what was I saying? Oh, so with Quinn and Logan, like at the wedding, like at their, engagement party or whatever it was. I don't know. They basically did a whole whirlwind of stuff in a weekend, like the engagement.
They really did. I was like, how long is this weekend?
Yeah, right. Like just over the course of a weekend. But I loved also Quinn's grandma. Like when they had that cake, and then she's like, "Oh, Quinn, honey, you look so beautiful." She's like, "Grandma, that's a cake." That was so ridiculous. And then,
oh yeah, I was like, I wish she had been on the show because she was hilarious.
It was so good. And then when she was so funny, because then when they're at the wedding, like setting up at PCA, which again was so great with Zoey, like bringing everyone together to do that. And then she's like, "Is this cake?" Like, that whole meme.
Oh
like,
my God, I was really excited.
Like, is this cake? I was like, that's great. All these references are so funny. Oh my gosh.
Well, also Logan's sister.
Oh yeah. I don't think that was, I'm sure that was just.
I don't think I don't feel like they ever even mentioned he had anybody. But then she's like super bizarre in the best way on the show.
Well, so her name is Lyric, and she had like that whole song, and then it was so funny toward the end when she's like, "Logan, why don't you introduce me to your friend?" Because like Michael, who could like give her a contract or something. That was so funny.
Oh yeah, it's
she
true.
was so wild. And then that part when Michael loses his voice, and she was just like reading his lips and then speaking for him. That was so funny too. She's like, "I could read, lips."
It was just like another like that was kind of like a kind of a throwback to me for like the zany Nickelodeon, like she was just bizarre. And I feel like that was like, a lot of Nickelodeon have moments where like it's just kind of outrageous because it's a kid's show. And I thought that was a really fun way to do it so like adults could still enjoy it.
Yeah.
If you know what, yeah.
I know, because I think the new characters fit in so well with the original characters. I thought it was
Agreed.
well done. And I love just all like the emotional stuff too. And like it was really cute, like when Logan apologizes to her, and then just their whole wedding. It was so sweet with Zoey saying, "You said you wanted to get married in a lab coat." That was so cute.
That was really cute.
Just an intimate wedding with their friends. Yeah.
Okay, they like cleaned up that whole part of PCA in like 10 seconds. Like I need them to come and do a deep clean of my like apartment. They did it so fast.
That's impressive. I know, it's so funny.
And I was like, wow, the turnaround time for this is just insane.
It's so, I know, so crazy. And then so like poor Zoey, like then when she's working at the wedding, like, because it's like that classic thing of spreading yourself too thin, like trying to do both. And of course she ends up losing both. Like she makes Quinn upset, and then she like loses her job in that moment. But like the job is freaking wild anyway. Basically the whole thing is like she's babysitting that Jordan.
Yeah.
He's a train wreck, that dude. And like even then the guy playing her boyfriend was Todd, like when he gets involved, which is so wild too. Like, and then like he's got his orange hair and like this dude, Jordan, and then like repeating everything Zoey says. And of course, like saying, it was the car. And then like the girl.
Yes.
It was so delightful. It was so ridiculous.
It was really funny. And it's like I felt for Zoey not being able, she's like she wants to be there for her best friend, but she's also trying to like, advance her career, and that's just like a really tough choice to have to make. And like she pulled it off, but
well, because the whole thing too is that it's this very misogynistic, even him saying at the beginning, like when she suggests, "What if he proposed?" And then of course, once the dude says it and he's like, "Oh, back and forth," like really unbelievable,
It's like we still have not come that far because that obviously still happens. But in the end, it was her who, helped save the day. So
and then I love when she stands up for herself saying like, "And I'm not going to be treated this way," but then he's immediately like, "I'll give you a raise in the corner office." So that's good. Then she's like, "Okay, that's good."
Right? Get it in writing, girl.
Yes, too funny. And then I just love, Chase and Zoey. Also, then when they kissed in the car, I literally was like clapping. I was like, yes, finally.
I was just like, finally, like
it was the same thing with Carly and Freddie, which like then that whole, I'm sorry, like we're jumping to iCarly listeners, but I can't help it because because that premiered on the same day. It was Zoey 102 and then the season 3 finale of the iCarly revival.
Yes, I still haven't watched the season 3 finale, but I've seen the rest of the
Oh, okay. I won't spoil it for
season.
you. It's really good. Yeah, but when they confess, well, like when Carly confesses her, well, not her love, but she says, "I want to be with you, Freddie." It was like one of those things where it's like, finally, it was so cute. And he's like, "This is this really happening?" It was so adorable and so like well performed, like all the emotion of it. I loved that. Oh my God.
And I feel like it was pretty accurate to like, how that happens in real life. Like maybe you like same with like Zoey and Chase. Like maybe you like each other, it's not the right time, so, the circumstances, and then you come back to it years later when things have like changed in life. I just thought it was so good how they did it, but they still kept the humor like with Carly and Freddie, and like this. There was like something with like they were on the roof and he was like trying to write something. Yeah, it was it's like a whole mess. But I like seeing them as a couple. I know like we're all of age, but it's still just so weird every time they mention like sex or they drink, because I'm still so used to them, so used to them on the show.
That is so funny. Yeah, because now they're all adults, like,
Exactly.
So,
Every time there's like a reference that's slightly PG-13, I'm just like, oh my goodness. Like,
hearing them like swear every once in a while, it's like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
I was like, oh me, oh my. Like,
right. Yeah. Well, even in this too, a couple of swear words, I was like, wow. Because they
same.
Because in the show it'll be like chiz, and then here they say shit, it's just obviously like being adults, but it's just funny. Like when you're
that, and it's like, we're not on Nickelodeon, we can say it. And
yeah, right. That's so funny. I know. I don't know. I would love to see. So would it be like, say, Zoey 103 then? And maybe it would be Quinn and Logan having a baby or something. I could see that. Maybe then Chase and Zoey, like maybe Chase proposes to Zoey. Oh, I want this now, putting that out in the universe.
I'm so glad it did well. In like several countries, because with like stuff with streaming, you don't really know, because they I know it's not, Netflix is known for like really hiding their data, so I'm not sure Paramount Plus publishes that, but you don't really know how many people watched it exactly.
Right. I know, and that's why because with Paramount Plus, that's why they're doing a lot of these revivals, because it's getting people more interested in the drawing more people into the platform, obviously. Because did you see the other day they posted a teaser trailer for Good Burger 2?
Yes.
I
hope they finished filming before the strikes happened. I think
they
did. I'm not sure, but I'm so glad that is a thing that exists and will be here at some point in time, because I just die hard Good Burger. Keenan and Kel. First celeb I ever had a crush on was Kel Mitchell. And yes, like since I was like 6.
I had a crush on Kel. In this show, I had a crush on Chase, actually. That like reminded me watching this now. I was like, oh, Chase, like, too funny.
I had a crush on Todd until I was like, of course I like the one that turns out to be a damn serial killer.
I mean, he's really hot though. It's so funny. I'm sorry, just not to objectify, but when he walks in, his booty, like he's like, he's really decent. Like, hello, hey Todd.
Yeah, I was like, God bless.
Yeah, looking good.
Thank you, cameraman.
I love it. I'm here for it. Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, I was like, yes.
He is something else. And I don't know, he has the time to do all that and be a murderer. I don't.
Exactly.
Like, wow.
And well, I guess if he's an out of work actor, I guess he has some time.
Good point, right? Because he was giving that whole speech though, and also he was being Australian on top of all that. But like giving a speech about him like doing surgery and stuff. But that's too funny. Oh wait, I wanted to mention. That's right. I wanted to mention. There was a cameo. Actually, I thought it was so cute. There's a cameo from Jamie Lynn's daughters in this movie.
Oh
you saw that? Yes. Yeah. It was when they.
I forgot what they were doing.
They pull up to the jewelers, and then when they come out of the car, and then her older daughter was saying, "Is that the car from Love Fully Charged?" And she's like, "No." And then her youngest daughter saying, "I think it is."
That's right. Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah, that was very cute.
That was a very blink and you'll miss it moment, because I almost missed it, but someone I was watching it with was like, "Oh, I think that's her daughter." So
yeah.
And then now I'm just like, wow, that just would have gone straight over my head, because it was so quick.
It was just a cute little cameo, because apparently also like they shared stuff on Instagram before the strikes, like when they were allowed to share stuff, and they posted that like her younger daughter like organized a whole little fashion show with everyone. That's so cute.
That's really cute.
I'm sure
the youngest one or the older
youngest one. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
So they had like a runway, and then like it was the cast and like crew doing that, because they posted that on Instagram. I think Jamie Lynn and like people posted that. So cute. But
That's adorable.
I think it's so sweet, like with this cast. Like I saw they posted a couple of like promo things of the cast recalling things from the original show. And it's just this cute seeing them, like, and they were trying to like remember who said what quote and stuff. And just seeing them a little bit and just like kind of you could tell like the friendship is still there and the chemistry is still there with all these actors. I think it's really sweet.
Yeah, and it really shows, like, just like with iCarly, like clearly those people all still really love each other and being around each other. Because eventually that they, yeah, they're all good like actors, but eventually you're gonna be able to see the cracks in that. But for these two, both the iCarly and the Zoey 101, like there's no cracks. Like it's clear as day. They genuinely like being around each other. So that's always nice to see.
It's really sweet too. And Logan I thought looked really good too. I just that's now I'm like remembering other moments. I loved also the moment like when they're like, where's Chase and Zoey? And then they're like, oh, you look so good. And then like one of them is like, is this their first look? And then Stacey's like, they're weird like that. Like,
Oh, I forgot
good.
about that. Yes.
I loved that too, because they are weird like that, but it works. I did also just love like the actual wedding, and then when Lyric just like kicks on. I just love that song Starships. That took me back to college. That was like one of my college.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was in there. Yes.
Because that was like right at the end in the montage of them like drinking, and then also Stacey and Mark making out. I was like, yeah, too funny. And like so funny. And they were like,
oh yeah, because that was like the sloppy seconds line was like in that scene.
Yeah,
at the end. Yes, that's right. Yeah,
I loved all that stuff, just like quick snapshots. It was overall to me it was such a feel good movie. I had the feels, and it was like really joyous and fun. To me, it was like I really loved it start to finish.
Oh yeah, I feel like I would have liked it even if I hadn't seen the show. Like I just thought it was like really well done. I don't know if I would have seen it if I had never seen the show before, but I just thought it was just a great script. It was just well done. Like me at 31 years old thoroughly enjoyed it.
I agree. I know. I loved also just even like the new tech make then that Quinn invented.
Yes.
That was so great too, because like she asked her to be maid of honor. It's just that she's about to like go give her keynote speech, whatever. Like, Quinn
like no big deal.
Fantastic. Like she's on top of the world. I love that. So
I need more.
I agree. I need more too. Was your boyfriend, was he a fan of the original show too?
He watched some of it, but not like religiously like me. But actually, after we watched the movie, I was like, "Oh, can we watch the Jet X episode?" Because I don't know if he saw it as a kid. It wasn't coming back to him. Because one of my favorite quotes from the entire series is on there, and it's really stupid. I don't know why. It's like the Jet X episode is like their film class, and they bring in some guy who's selling the Jet X, and he's like kind of a weird, quirky advertiser man or whatever. And at the end of the episode, like they, Zoey presents her group project and it's really good. And, that's the one that wins. But the guy is like, well, butter my rump and call me toast. And then there's like quick editing that just goes, of 3 kids. And I don't know why. I just thought that was like peak comedy as a child. And it still makes me laugh to this day. So I love the Jet. You have to go back and watch the Jet X episode. It was surprisingly earlier in the series than I remembered.
Was that season 1 then? Because when Dana was still a character, I know she was.
Yes, yeah. Because it was season 1. Yeah, because it was Zoey, Nicole, and Dana in like a little group project.
Okay, right.
To do, and I always I always wanted this Jet X thing, and but yeah, that. So we watched that episode, and then I had him watch the backpack episode because that one I really liked too as a kid. So, but he was like, he's like, wow, he thought while I'm like oogling like the Todd guy, he's like oogling Quinn. So it was like something for everybody.
Right, it's so good though. And who was your favorite character from the show?
Oh, from the show, that's tough. I always loved Chase, but I think Michael made me laugh the most. So a tie between them. It might have been Michael. Just I don't know. There was like a scene where he's like, oh, he needs to eat healthier, and he just can't. So he's like trying to eat the salad, but he like hid chips underneath it, so they couldn't see that he was eating. I don't know. I related to that, and my friend and I still say dripping to this day. So possibly Michael. Who was yours?
Mine was always Chase, honestly. I remember in the original show, they would always make jokes about like his bushy hair. That was
It
always,
really was. It really was bushy.
yeah. And they didn't really
Because
have
now,
that
it's
now.
cut
It sort of like
short
got
now.
tamed. Yeah, that's so funny. But Chase and I always loved their friendship, Chase and Michael. And the only thing with this movie is I would have loved to have seen just like a quick scene or something with like maybe just Chase, Michael, and Logan, like just the boys, like something.
The OG roommates, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We saw like a little bit of them interacting, but not really, because obviously it's Zoey, like it's a movie, so we're following Zoey. But seeing Zoey and Quinn, the scene with them in the bathtub was like peak, like that was quintessential Quinn. When she was doing
Exactly.
her whole jargon, and she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but okay, like
Yeah,
so cute.
exactly.
It's like,
I
but
was
I
like,
love
that
you,
was a
it's
that was a
funny.
throwback to the show because none of them ever understood what she was saying.
Exactly. It's like, she was basically always the weird one. That was what was funny too. Like, I know there was one scene, there was a couple of storylines with Quinn and Logan. So then, like, in hindsight, it's like it adds to why they like the opposites attract. But there was one episode where like she teaches him how to play basketball, but then it turns out she was she was like humiliating him the whole time to get back at him or something. Because
Oh yeah.
yeah, so like, and then like she made him wear a dress and stuff. It's like getting payback, Logan. That's so funny.
Exactly. Cut to here they are today.
Exactly. You know what? Because what's funny is that Logan, obviously in the show, he was so in love with himself and like so like thinking which like he's handsome and stuff, but like it's like calm down, Logan. But he he never had a girlfriend on the show until Quinn. Really, that's what's funny to think too.
That's true. He was such a
You
ladies'
know,
man, I guess,
right? Like
self-diagnosed, but
too funny. But I mean, I love that they're so cute together. Though I'm glad it all worked out for them. And
I'm
then
so curious like if there were a bunch of deleted scenes, and if so, like what was cut out.
I know. I loved seeing the outtakes over the credits. That was cute. Like seeing a little
Yes, I was
flash.
hoping they would do that because that's
I
the type of movie that you would do. They would make it's like a movie that's like super dramatic. You outtakes don't really make sense, but
right.
something like this would, yeah.
I love stuff like that too. But then also I wanted to ask you too, were you always a fan of Stacey, like being your namesake Stacey? Or were you like, of course this girl is
um,
Stacey?
yeah, kinda because she cracked me up, and I've interviewed Abby Wilde once over the phone, and like we kind of stayed in touch over social media, and she's very very sweet. But yeah, the character is. I think after like the Stacey's mom and like that took over because that came out when I was like in I don't know junior high, which that was fun. But the
Right.
Stacey, this yeah, I did really like her because she was just so bizarre. But yeah, the name I was like, and then I think they the official way they spell it is the same way I do with Stacey. So then I was like, okay, well she spells it the correct way, so she's good in my book.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, yep, of course the weird girl in in the group is named Stacey because there's like a the Babysitters Club books or something. There's like a character named Stacey, and like one of the books is called like Boy Crazy Stacey, and it's like someone literally dragging like the photo on the cover is like someone dragging Stacey away from like a boy, and I was like, I guess Stacey's are just weird.
Oh gosh, that's too
Is
funny.
that's I don't know,
No.
but yeah, anytime she was on screen, especially in the movie, because I love true crime and I love that I never thought that of her, but once they showed that that's what her career path was, I was like, heck yeah, that's exactly what she should be doing.
That's honestly the joy of loving characters like when they're younger, and then you want to see where they're at as adults. Like that's what's so fun about getting to revisit these characters. That's why I was like, again, like I love seeing where they're all at now, and I think they all chose great career paths for the characters that work so well for all of them.
And they're
So
all very successful. And I was like, okay,
yeah,
that's not entirely accurate. Why is this entire friend group at the top of their game? Well, except Zoey, but she was rising anyway.
that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
I walked away and I was like, what the hell? Like,
These people living their best lives, and like this, like they
exactly.
even joke how like high school love never lasts, but these two like ended up like married now. But
It was, yeah, it was. I thought it was a great love letter to the fans, and definitely seemed like it had everything wrapped up well, except kind of like the murder little joke thing, but but they also clearly left it open to do more, and I hope they do.
I agree. I really hope so, because especially now that Chase and Zoe are finally, it's like these two, it took them this long to finally, same like with Carly and Freddie, finally, like, it took them long enough. So now they're forever together.
I was like, let us see their like, dating honeymoon phase,
Yeah, right. They're adults now, so they gotta,
Exactly. Give the people what we want.
It's too funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, because also they allude to, like, Zoe says to Chase, like, there are schools here in California, because like he was living in Baltimore, they mentioned.
Oh, that's
He was the
right.
only
Yeah.
one. Yeah, because they touch on that, like, she basically doesn't really keep in touch with anyone, I guess, except Quinn.
Mhm.
Like, so she kind of distanced herself from everyone.
I thought that was funny when she, so he teaches in Baltimore, and it's
Mm.
like, yeah, he could teach in California, but he has to get recertified there. But they kind of just like glossed over that.
Oh, good point. Yeah, that's
Oh, I know a bunch of teachers. So I was like, okay, we're just gonna ignore that part. He can't just like pick up and immediately start applying.
there are laws that are like different here, honestly. Yeah, with certain industries.
California kind of does things a little differently, so maybe, but like normally he would have to get like recertified to teach there, which is silly because like depending on what he's teaching, the information's gonna be the same.
Right, that's true too. Well, because also then he's teaching elementary school, which is so cute.
Oh, because they did that. They included, it was like I think I saw it on TikTok, but like teachers like greeting their kids, like the kids line up when they enter and they do like a dance or hug or something, and like they had him do that, and I thought that was
Yes.
cool. And I'm guessing they got the idea because I think I've seen that done on like that show Abbott Elementary, but I originally saw it like going viral on Facebook or TikTok or all the above. So I thought that was really cute.
That is a really cute thing for just kids to express themselves. So I know so much cute, well planned out stuff in this movie. It was really, yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah, and I feel like they filmed it really fast, but I mean,
Yeah.
it turned out really great. So I wouldn't call it rushed or anything. But I remember it said, "Oh, we're filming," and then suddenly like, "Oh, we wrapped," and then they're like, "Now it's coming out," and I was like, "Goodness gracious!" But
I
it
know.
turned out great. So
That's a good point. Like, very quick turnaround time. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, even with the iCarly revival, they've had 3 seasons in less than 3 years, really.
it is. Yeah, and
Like,
10
very quick.
episodes each. I mean, that takes time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been such that revival too. I'll just say, like, for me, it took a little bit to like find its footing and find a rhythm in terms of an identity outside the original series. But now I think it's really hit its stride now, especially now that Carly and Freddie finally got together. It's been like A+ in my opinion.
Well, and making Spencer a sperm donor, and he had all these like I was like, that would have never aired on Nickelodeon. Like I loved every moment.
That's wild. He has 11 biological children now, and yet somehow that makes sense for Spencer freaking Shea. That's just
Well,
so
and like,
fun.
he's so rich, and I'm like, okay, he made some money donating sperm as well as all his like art
Yes, right. That's so
stuff. But
funny. Oh God. Spencer living his best life too. That's like, I love how Jerry Trainer is like exactly the same,
oh
He's
yeah, like he looks the
amazing.
same. It's just like you picked him up and put him into the new show. And
I love Jerry Trainer. Spencer's always been my favorite from that show. He's just so good. But now Freddie, I think, is so great in the new series too. Like, the range of Nathan Kress, I think, is so impressive.
I like that they're giving him more to do, I feel like, with the reboot.
That's what I love in the revival, seeing the more emotional stuff. That to me is what's really like resonating, because it's again stuff we would never have seen on the Nickelodeon show.
Yeah, and he's directing he directed several of the episodes.
Yes.
So I thought that was neat too.
Jerry did too, actually. He directed.
He did, yeah. I think he might have directed the sperm one. I can't remember,
like,
but
of course, right? I think he directed the cat one, or maybe that was Nathan. I know Nathan's directed the one with Neville again, the deep fake one. He directed that one. Oh, and I think
that was a great use of current technology
so funny.
reference.
Oh my God. But no, he also directed the bachelorette party for
oh, when they like it like becomes like a sort of a home makeover, but they get basically kidnapped. And
that's so funny. I've been loving that. So yeah, so here's hoping for more iCarly and more Zoey 102 or 103, who knows,
or whatever they want to call it. Exactly, because
absolutely,
I feel like as long as like the cast is into it, that's like the main battle, I feel like, is getting the cast to want to return, but clearly they want to return. So
Exactly. And again, like they fell back into their characters and the chemistry is still there, like between the cast, and it just was very good. Yeah.
and everyone just like looks good,
Exactly.
like everyone, is, I mean, on and off camera, clearly living their best life.
Right. It's so good. Like the glow ups, we're here for it.
Exactly.
Amazing. That's like the main takeaway here, everyone. Living their best life. It's so
A
good.
plus glow ups. Yes.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Stacey, always so much fun having you on the podcast. So as always, please feel free where people can find you on social media and anything else you want to promote.
Sure. Yeah, it's always so much fun to chat with you about all things nostalgia. You can find me on social media at Stacey, Stacey _ Grant91.
Perfect. And blah, blah, blah. I'll do the outro later. Okay. And with that, that's going to conclude this week's episode of Storytelling Saga. Be sure to check out storytellingsaga.com for all places to listen and where to follow on social media. And as always, feel free to send me any questions, comments, or writing prompts by emailing me at storytellingsaga@gmail.com. Next episode is kind of an odd one because I was planning on just talking about a special from this show, and then I ended up just talking about the whole show itself, and it's actually a show I've already talked about on this podcast with Stacey, in fact, from a couple of years back. So all that to say is I've got good news and bad news. The good news is I've named my nickel Philip. What's the bad news? It's a girl nickel. Plenty more quotes where that came from when I discussed the Fairly Odd Parents. Until then, thank you for listening, and remember, write what you love.